Hello, everybody. It's CapCorgi. I wanted to talk a little bit about a situation that started about a month ago and continued on until about today. And the news is pretty good today, but or at least better. But it was definitely not as good way back when it first started. I've been taking care of my dad, so I wasn't really able to really fully cover this entire situation when it first happened. But we'll start at the beginning. So, this is about Borderlands 4. We'll talk about it right now, and then we'll work backwards to really talk about the original. Now, this is Randy Pitchford. This is his official Twitter account, and he is someone who regularly, pretty much every time he opens his mouth, gets his foot stuck in it. So he has a history of saying sometimes the dumbest thing possible, and by sometimes I mean very often. And he is the game director of he's the owner of the company that makes Borderlands, and so he's a very passionate guy. He's been at the company from pretty much the beginning, and on that part I respect him, because like it's a pretty cool thing to create a video game company that you're passionate about and proud of. But sometimes he definitely shows that he's lost touch with the normal gamer. Hold on. He sometimes shows that he's lost touch with the normal gamer, which is pretty, not really the best thing, especially in our, very strong and loud and proud social media world where, when you make a tweet, everyone sees it and everyone is able to respond. Including yours truly. So, yeah, basically, what was announced now, so I don't delay it any further, is that there's no price increase for Borderlands 4, according to Randy Pitchford himself, CEO of Gearbox Games. And that means it is not launching at $80, but at $69.99. Now, this is better than $80 for sure, but you might be thinking, $80 for Borderlands 4? Where did this come from? And now we can take a look down memory lane and figure out why I'm talking about Randy, why I'm talking about his history of sticking his foot in his mouth, and so on and so forth. So we rewind to May 13th, 2025, so just over a month ago. And it started innocently enough. It was a little interesting post from Nintendo Switch talking about Gearbox Games and like the mayhem that'll await and all kinds of hype stuff for the Switch 2. Borderlands 4, which is coming out, will be apparently on the Switch 2 as well. Sounds like a pretty decent W. And until a very innocent question comes up where Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increases of the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. First of all, Gemmy J. Coiner, I don't know how he wants to pronounce it, but absolutely beyond fucking based, first of all. And also, second of all, he's right. No matter what any CEO tells you, whether they're the Sony CEO, whether they're whether it's Randy Pitchford, Gearbox CEO, whether it is the entire debacle with what's it called, Outer Worlds 2, their CEO saying, "Oh yeah, we don't have control of the price." They don't have direct control, but they absolutely have a say. And also, they're the ones who signed with the publisher in the first place, so buck ultimately stops with them, no matter how much they try to pass the buck and say that it doesn't. Take that to the bank. Second of all, he's right. Like, $80 for Borderlands 4 is an insane price tag. This is a game series where we've had one stellar game, Borderlands 2. Borderlands 1 was interesting because it was novel at the time, looter shooter, hero-like abilities, and a relatively interesting story, kind of held back by a lot of bugs and so on, but at least it was a good first attempt, so that game was decent. 2 was quite frankly, a great game. Fantastic DLCs, you know, all kinds of stuff. That's the one that made everyone really fall in love with the Borderlands series. That was the I guess, like the broadening out of the base by a lot. It was definitely their most successful game. And then came a string of absolute, abject, frankly, mid games. So we have everything from Borderlands pre-sequel, which was considered one of the worst in the series. We have Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which just came out about 2 years ago, which was okay, but it was mid. And then we had Borderlands 3, which was also considered quite mid. And now we have Borderlands 4, which has every reason to be mid as well. If the last 3 games that a game company has created ends up being in essentially what amounts to anywhere from a 6 to 7 out of 10 in terms of quality, then ostensibly the next game in the series is probably going to be similar. Maybe it'll be better. I hope so. I only hope for good games, by the way. And I love Borderlands 2. So I would love for this game to be fantastic. But the facts are the facts, and pattern recognition is a human trait. So we all know previous 3 games are relatively mid. Chances are very high Game 4 is going to be mid as well. You know, beyond that, already a good game being $80 is rankling with all of us. And the entire thought process of Borderlands, a relatively, you know, mid-series, being $80 is just extra dumb. Anyways, Randy did respond, and this is the Randy Pitchford in front of 2 million people putting his foot in his mouth. A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make that happen. My local game store had Starflight for the Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. Really? If you're a real fan, you'll make it happen. Now, this is why people hate it when Randy Pitchford talks, because he just oozes this, like, superiority complex and this absolute lack of any kind of semblance of empathy or understanding of how the real world works now compared to when he was a kid on Pismo Beach selling ice cream. The problem is that we have a very different economic system now than Randy did when he was a kid. This is the same dichotomy that happens with boomers when they're like, oh yeah, you should just, you know, go into the store and give the manager your number and you know, shake his hand firmly and you'll get the job. It's the exact same, like, absolute, like, out of touch mentality. That's problem 1. Problem 2 is, not my call, is if it was true, which it, like I already, you know, covered, it's really not true. And even if it was, like, in some ways true, it's neither here nor there. But he could have at least left it that. But he didn't. He said the rest of it, and everyone got pissed. Basically, you'll see, like, freaking post after post. Deleted my second post. I realized it was a bit cringy. I played Borderlands. Real fan. Fuck off, Randy. Not worth $80 at all. I'm not buying. You were right. He's telling his friend. Vote with your wallets. Let it burn down. So on and so forth. The outcry went crazy. And people covered it like crazy on YouTube as well. So it just went over and over and over again. You can look it up. You know, $80 Borderlands 4, and you can look it up on YouTube. And Luke Stevens was talking about it. Moist Critical was talking about it. Everyone was talking about it because, you know, it was pretty big news. I would have talked about it too if I had time, but I didn't have time, so I didn't talk about it. I was doing more important things, taking care of a very good dad. You know, that was the entire debacle. And it has been like an absolute weighing down, like rocks, and you throw someone in the water and they sink to the bottom. These have been rocks in the pockets of Borderlands for like the last month or so, until today, where, like I said, they have stated that the price increase will not happen for Borderlands 4. Standard Edition launches are not at $80, but at $69.99. Now, what does this tell you guys? Tell me. What does this tell you? First of all, this is a W for all of us. This is a W. We should just call it what it is. This is an absolute W. Second of all, what this should also tell you is, why is this a W? This is a W because this is what loud feedback can and does all the time. What is something that I've preached on this channel since the very beginning, when we first started to cover debacles with, like, you know, the Sony debacle when they added the PSN requirement for Helldivers 2, and then later on with Riot Games with, you know, the Hextech chess situation, and the list goes on and on and on. We've covered like maybe 10, 15 different situations like this. The lesson is, companies will bend, they will break, and they will capitulate if the feedback is loud and unified enough. And if it gets enough eyeballs, and if it gets enough volume, and if it gets enough YouTube videos, and enough tweets, and enough memes that will live on in everyone's head, then suddenly Gearbox is going to start shitting themselves. 2K Games will start shitting themselves. And they'll think, rightly, that if they don't address the situation and they don't make us, the actual gamers, buying their fucking game happy, we're not gonna buy their fucking game. We are not in a world where Randy was all the way back in, you know, what is it, like, in the 80s or 70s, maybe. Who knows about, you know, when he was talking about Pismo Beach. Oh, 1991, so, or, you know, late 80s, early 90s. Where you had a grand total of, like, you know, a few dozen games. And you only knew about a few dozen games because we didn't have the internet back then. I was born around that time period, so I know. We don't live in that era anymore. We live in an era where we have Steam. And in Steam, I have 200 games downloaded. And I have not touched like 90% of them. And even with the ones I don't have downloaded, we have like another 1,000 games. It's just insane, the amount of volume of games. And a lot of those games I bought for like $5 fucking $10 fucking. They're quality games. They're on sale. They go on sale all the time. You can get them in bundles. You can go to Humble Bundle, Bundle Stars. You can go to all kinds of sites to get these games for super cheap, extremely normally. Like, it is actually normal to do that now. And basically we have A, choice, and B, we have price power. Us gamers, we control the price. If we don't want a game, we just don't fucking buy it. And every time we don't buy a game, what happens? Star Wars Outlaws happens. $1 million copies, which is nothing. Dragon Age the Veilguard happens. We have situations where, you know, Skull and Bones completely fails. We have situations where pretty much all of these other games that ended up being abject failures, and we thought they were going to be abject failures, they end up being so. Because we don't like something about the game. We think it's too annoying. We think it's too overpriced. We think the monetization is bad. We think Ubisoft sold us a mid piece of shit. So why bother buying the game? All of these reasons and more are reasons for games to fail. And for a game to be $80 and then the CEO to come out and be like, well, if you're a real fan, you're going to buy the game and, you know, march on up and spend that hard-earned dosh. Suck our fucking collective dick, Randy Pitchford. Okay, this was the most tone-deaf shit ever. And he realized it later on. He did give an apology, but the problem is damage was done. And when someone gives an apology, when they get pushback, that is not their real feeling. This right here is Randy's real feeling. It always has been and always will be. What they say in a situation to piss you off is always what they really think. Anything that happens afterwards is the, oh shit, I gotta cover my ass. And that is exactly what happened with Randy's case. Now, granted, you know, we drove this into the ground, which is fantastic, and we got our, you know, relative W, which is a $10 price decrease than what it would have been. Also, what this tells you is no price increase. So they were planning on increasing the price. So we were right. They were planning on increasing the price. We all knew it. We all had the writing on the wall. And always trust your instincts. And then second of all, they're showing you, so please show them. Guys, you know what? I think we can go one step further. I think we don't have to stop at $69.99. I think what this tells us, as you and me and every other gamer out there, we can push harder. We can force 2K to sell the game even lower. Why the fuck should we buy this mid-ass game for $70? Why not buy it for $60? Why not push them to go down to $50? Let's dream big here, guys. Like, genuinely. This is a game that is overproduced. Randy has talked at length about how it costs him. I think he made I think during his apology post, he made an apology post where he talks about it in a video, saying basically the reason that Borderlands 4 is being sold so high is he loves his gooner. This is Randy's page, not my page. But he absolutely, talks about the reasons why Borderlands' price is so high. It's because the production price went higher. Now, what does that mean? That is the same problem that every single other very large video game is running into. The production costs go super high, and as a result, they push that cost onto who? You and me. The problem is that we don't give a fuck. And we shouldn't give a fuck. If a company misuses their funds for, basically making a game that shouldn't cost $200 million, it costs $200 million because they're flooded with middle management positions that are useless. They have, way too much focus on fidelity as opposed to gameplay, and as a result, the gameplay is mid. And, you can see, like, single strands on people's hairs and stuff like that, which we don't give a fuck about. And we end up with, like, a Star Wars Outlaw situation or whatever. The thing is that it doesn't matter what the reason is. We don't care. The price shouldn't be pushed on the consumer because you can't manage your money correctly, Randy. And he actually says it himself here. So let's try to find it.
Always me that has to do the spicy ones. All right.
What will the game's price be? That's an interesting one. I don't know this.
The price, really, now? I'll tell you the truth. I don't know. And that is the truth.
He could have left it at that. He didn't do it.
I'll hit it straight on. And it's an interesting...
I do give him credit for actually talking about it. A lot of CEOs won't even talk about it. So this is one thing that I will give Randy credit for. I've given him a lot of flack in this video so far, but this is one thing I'll give him credit for. He didn't have to interface with the question at all. He's like, I could have said, I don't know. Sorry, we'll find out together. And left it at that. And he probably would have made more money doing so, perhaps because the game would come out at $80. However, I don't think you and I are going to buy the game at $80. Shit, I'm not even going to buy it at $70.
Time, right? We've got
here it is.
On one level, we've got a competitive marketplace where the people that make those choices want to sell as many units as possible, and they want to be careful about people that are price sensitive.
Here's the real truth. And I'm going to interrupt Randy here because what he doesn't realize is the fact that he's out of touch. And what he also doesn't realize is that he's not only out of touch with the gamer, he is also out of touch with the publisher. He's out of touch with 2K Games. He thinks that 2K Games is going to make the correct choice for us? Absolutely fucking not. 2K Games is going to make whatever choice the C-suite executives who want to have, their minister of monetization, their CEO of monetization or whatever the fuck, which is an actual position in all these big ass companies. And those people are the ones who decide, we can squeeze the gamers a little bit more. Yeah, let's sell, a 5-day early access to Star Wars Outlaws for $20 more, and people will buy it. Shit like that. Shit that drives you and I crazy. But the problem is that these C-suite executives have proven themselves to not know what the gamers want over and over and over again. Concord was a $400 million failure. Fair Game $sign by Sony is set to be another complete abject failure. The game is so bad that the game director had to leave in pre-production. Like, it's gone on with single-player games, multiplayer games, and everything in between. Dragon Age the Veilguard completely sold like dog, and I'll be making a video on that soon as well. So these C-suite executives that Randy thinks will make the right choice, they don't make the right choice. They don't know jack shit, and the truth is coming out. Me Luke Stevens, you know, everyone else, Moist Critical, everyone else that talks about it, Mr. Matty Plays, we all talk about these things because we know. We've been in the gaming world since we were babies. We've been playing these games and we've been looking at these companies and we've had stars in our eyes to make games, to play games, to share games, to talk about games since the very get-go. We live and breathe games. These C-suite executives don't know jack fucking shit. And we are all realizing it now, and we've been making content to tell all of you, the audience, the people that are gamers like us, the ones that you trust us and we trust you. These are the people that matter. We know what a game's worth is, which is why when a game like Star Wars Outlaws or whatever wants to be, you know, actually sold, they drop the price down by 30-40%. And they say, oh, it's a sale after 2 months. So we know that just wait for 2 months and then Ubisoft will put that fucking dog shit on sale. But here's the real rub, guys. Here's the real rub. We've known this for a very long time. These C-suite executives at these big companies are only just catching up. And not only that, the indie game companies, the double A companies, the ones that are single A companies, not even considered A companies, but they're still producing better and better work with smaller and smaller teams and higher amounts of passion and efficiency. They know. I'm talking about Larian Studios, which granted is a larger game company. I'm talking about From Software, which is granted a larger company. But I'm talking about Sandfall Studios that made Clair Obscur. I'm talking about the team that made Astrobot. I'm talking about the team that made Schedule 1, a single fucking guy. And that game took everyone by storm, sold millions and millions of copies, made more money than a lot of these AAA games. The list goes on and on and on. The smaller game companies, the ones that are actually passionate, the ones that are players of games on their own teams, the ones that have games in their lifeblood, they grew up playing them, they're the ones who actually know and give a shit. They're the ones who want to make a good product, not make monetization policies to try to squeeze microtransaction fucking dog shit money out of us. That's the real truth, Randy. All right, let's continue with the statement.
So there's some folks that don't want to see prices go up, even the ones deciding what the prices are. There's other folks accepting the reality that game budgets are increasing and there's tariffs for...
Why? Why are game budgets increasing? Let's see. How many people work at Gearbox Gaming, guys? Let's find out. Gearbox Gaming employee number. 1,300 people in 2022. So, you know, now that number has probably only gone up. What the fuck are 1,300 people doing at Gearbox, guys? Why do 1,300 people work at Gearbox? They don't make that many games, guys. We haven't had a Duke Nukem game in fucking forever. A Brothers in Arms game? We haven't had that since 2008. Half-Life? I mean, they haven't really done anything with Half-Life in forever. You know, we hate them for that. Aliens Colonial Marines was an absolute shit show, and that was a long time ago. Battleborn, Homeworld. None of these games actually have games anymore. Well, Homeworld does, but that's it. So we have Homeworld and we have Borderlands. That's it. So what the fuck is Gearbox doing with 1,300 employees? We don't care about the fact that you've mismanaged your people to the point that you have a 1,300 person team making a mid-ass fucking game, Randy. That's the
retail packaging and like it's getting gnarly out there.
And I love how he says retail packaging. We don't even get physical games in our boxes anymore, man. Half the time we get a fucking code. And then you have to use the code at the PlayStation Store or whatever. And then that's when it downloads the game from the cloud anyways. We just get digital shit all the time anyways, which sucks. I miss physical copies, but that's not even a thing anymore.
You guys, Borderlands 4 has more than twice the development budget than Borderlands 3.
Why? Why does it have twice? Does it have twice the quality, Randy? Can you promise twice the quality? No, you can't promise twice the quality because it's probably going to be slightly worse than Borderlands 3, considering that's the trend with so many large game companies releasing sequels for games. A lot of times, the sequel for the game is worse than the fucking original game. You go to a game like, oh god, the one of the best examples Here, let me see if I can bring it up on my own channel, because I covered the shit out of this. CapCorgi YouTube. There we go. And I covered a game called Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. And that game was one of the original huge shit shows. And one of the worst problems was here, I'll bring this one up. How are these two games 9 years apart? And if you look at the thumbnail, you will see. Where is it? Sorry, I clicked it by accident. Here we go. Yeah, how are these two games 9 years apart? And if you look at the thumbnail, in the 2015 game of Arkham City, the look of the game is... Arkham Knight. The look of the game is infinitely better. Everything, the fidelity, the classiness, the fun factor, everything is infinitely better. It's a single-player game. It's not multiplayer dog shit. There's no, live service microtransaction shit in it at all. And then the 2024 game is, like, infinitely worse in every single way. And I covered the hell out of that situation. The problem is that the new games suck. A lot of times, compared to the original games. So that doesn't even hold water.
More than twice. The truth is, I don't know what the price is going to be. I do know that we will be opening pre-orders soon, TM.
You can pay more money very soon, guys. Don't worry.
And that will be when the price is set.
I never covered this situation.
I think that
so I'm enjoying doing it now.
Here's the philosophy we have. Whatever the price is, we're entertainers. Yes, we want to get more resources so we can make bigger and better games. There's a reason why Borderlands 4 is so awesome. It's because you guys showed up and supported Borderlands 3. And
okay, anyways, so he just rolls on and on. Okay, it's going to be a good game. I promise it's going to rock. But the thing is that he made the same promises with Borderlands, the pre-sequel. He made the same promises with Borderlands 3. He made the same promises with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And both of those, all of those games have fans. All of those games are decent, but they're not great. They're not Elden Ring. They're not Larian Studios, they're not Claire Obscure Expedition 33. They're none of those games. They're none of these killer apps that actually transcend the genre, and it might be even worth $80, even though, thank God, a lot of them don't even sell for $80. Space Marine 2, my favorite game of last year, was how much? It was $60 at launch. Went down to $50 like almost instantly as well. Because they were like, you know what? I want everyone to play this game, so we're going to put it on sale. 10% off. Everyone can buy it for 10% off for like the first 3 weeks or whatever. How often does a game company do that? Very rare. Only when they're based. And Space Marine 2's development team is super fucking based. Now, the real crux of the matter is this. That we have more respect for our money now than we did 5 years ago. We have more respect for our money in looking at Borderlands 4 than we did when we looked at Borderlands 3, when we looked at Tiny Tina's, when we looked at Borderlands the pre-sequel. And Randy doesn't realize it. 2K doesn't realize it. But it doesn't matter what they do or don't realize. If they figure it out, then Borderlands 4 will sell better. But if they don't figure it out, Borderlands 4 will crash and burn. If it launches at $70, I still don't think people will buy it. I was half memeing when I said we can push the price lower. It's half a meme, but it's also kind of true. I think we can, and I think we should. Because I don't see any freaking way that Borderlands 4 is going to be worth even $70. Not when you can buy Clear Obscure Expedition 33 for $50. Not when you can buy, Oblivion Remastered, where you can put in 10,000 hours into the game because it's such a huge open world game, and it was made back when games were fucking good. So everyone likes it. And, it's not like, like I said, Space Marine 2, which is, if we look at Space Marine 2, what can you buy Space Marine 2 for? Which is, not really a looter shooter, but it is, multiplayer and stuff, so it has some of the same ingredients. Space Marine 2. Okay, it's still $60, so that still has held on. But you can buy it on sale, usually for 20-30% off, whenever it's a Steam sale for, winter sale or summer sale or whatever. So the thing is that we know that these games don't have to be that expensive. If you actually treat your teams well and don't keep firing people, so you have to rehire new teams and make those teams larger to get the same efficiency as the smaller team that you fired, because you have to pay the seniority, and you have to pay like the older people there that are have been there for many, many years and have all the knowledge and skill and stuff. You have to pay them more. If you have to do that and, fire those people and get a larger team, then your price only goes up. This has happened so many times with all these companies, and this has frankly happened a lot with Bethesda recently as well, which is extremely sad. That's why we got rubbish like Starfield instead of genius like Oblivion and Morrowind and Fallout 3. This is why, Outer Worlds 1 is considered quite mid, and New Vegas was considered fucking fantastic. This is why Obsidian, who made, what is it called? Avowed was such an absolute shit show. Whereas the previous games that they made, were Pillars of Eternity and all those other amazing games, were infinitely better. Why? It's because the new teams don't have the same people as old teams. And if we're not paying for those things, then what the fuck are we paying for? The name? The names aren't worth it. We get new games all the time. We love new IPs, but we love new IPs when they're good. We give indie games new IPs as gamers. We give them so many chances. Why? Because they deserve it. They've shown us over and over and over again. These new IPs, these indie games, these small team made and led games are usually infinitely higher quality than anything Randy Pitchford, Gearbox, 2K, Bethesda, EA, and Ubisoft, and anyone else in between can make in their best days. Sometimes they can come close. Sometimes they make an Astrobot, but usually they make dog shit. Anyways, that's my entire talk. I think we can make the price go lower. I wanted to cover the entire situation, and I guess this is more of like a huge, larger coverage than I did beforehand, because I didn't cover this game at all. I could have said most of this stuff about a month ago, but I gave you the entire spiel now. So I hope you guys liked it, all condensed into one lovely little video for you guys. I go on rants about these things often, so if you guys enjoyed it, do give this video a like, a sub for this channel, share it with your friends. I'm a very passionate guy. I care about good games. I care about good games that have good value. It's really that simple. If anyone makes a good game with good value, I will play it. If anyone makes a good game with good value that respects your time, I will showcase it. I'll share it off. I don't care if it's the smallest indie game or the largest AAA or anything in between. I just want a good fucking game. And I genuinely hope Borderlands 4 is, but like I said, past its precedence, we have no clue if it is going to be or not. And Randy Pitchford, I think deep down, knows it. That's my entire talk. Hope you guys liked it, and catch you guys in the next video. Are you going to be buying Borderlands 4? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if so, what are you most excited about? And what are you least excited about? What are you most skeptical about? Me, I'm skeptical about the gameplay. And I'm skeptical about the RPG mechanics. Because this is something that they always talk about. And they always say, oh, we're going to get it super right this time, guys. Oh, man, you're going to love our new powers. Oh, man, our new skills are so cool. Oh, man, there's so many cool RPG mechanics and ways to customize your character. And then sometimes it's behind paywall, and sometimes this, and sometimes that. It's just like all kinds of caveats that stop us from actually having some fucking fun. This has been the entire situation. And a lot of times it's the story. The story in Borderlands 2 was simple, fun, really good villain, and that was it. Borderlands 3 and Borderlands the pre-sequel absolutely turned that on its head, and the story became annoying, grating. We didn't want to interface with any of the characters. And from what little I've seen of 4, it kind of feels like it's going to go down that path too. I hope it doesn't, and I'll cover it fairly. When it comes out, when more trailers come out, when gameplay comes out, I will cover that too. And I'll give it a fair shake. All I want is a good game. Generally hope it ends up being good, but I will tell it how it is, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. And you can always count on me for that. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoy the channel. If you want to see any of this stuff live, we are always streaming every single night on Twitch, at CapCorgi on Twitch as well. Take care, friends. Much love, and respect your money. These fuckers don't.